This call is now being recorded.
So, so this first one is the equality in rights, second one the right to life, third one freedom from slavery, fourth one the right to a fair trial, freedom of expression. People should be able to say what they want as long as it doesn't go against the law or another human right. So the human being express their feelings, thoughts, and our any observations like that. So freely expressed in the society without any conditions. And you see the next presentation. These are the characteristics of the human rights. Here, 7 characteristics of the human rights are there. The first one is the universal. The human rights are there in the universal wise. Second one, internationally guaranteed. Third one, these human rights are the legally protected. I mean, the human rights are evolved by the lawyers, and human rights protect individuals and groups from any uh, protects individuals and groups from other people, from the law and from the harm and from the slavery like that. So can be taken away. Equal human rights are the equal and indivisible, and the human rights obliges states and state actors. So these are the characteristics of the human rights. So here the human rights, the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, UNDH, or the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights by the United Nations Organization, UNO, on December 10th, 1948. So that is the important point. So the foundation of the human rights was laid in the 13th century when the resistance to the religious intolerance and socio-economic restraints, scientific dogmas, so that resultant in some revolts, mainly due to the some liberal thoughts of some philosophers. So anyhow, however, some hopes for all people for happy, dignified, and secure living conditions were raised with the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights in 1948. So this declaration provided a comprehensive protection of all individuals. I mean, the protection to all human beings against all form of say injustice, harm, and in violence. In some cases, violence. Okay. So the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights defines specific right. ఈ హ్యూమన్ రైట్స్ లో మీకు ఓకే సమ్ కేటగిరీస్ ఉన్నాయేమో అవి వచ్చేసి సివిల్, పొలిటికల్, ఎకనామిక్, సోషల్ యాజ్ వెల్ యాజ్ కల్చరల్. So the declaration defines specific rights, civil, political, economic, social, as well as cultural. So during by learning or by following these human rights, okay, the rights to life, liberty, security, fair trial by law, freedom of thought, freely expression, conscience, association, and freedom of movement, all these were there in the human rights. Okay. So according to the human rights, I mean the World Health Organization, WHO, the World Health Organization estimates all over the world, okay, 1 out of the 5% in the world wise, 1 out of every 5 persons are malnourished. Already we know the malnourishment, lack of the one specific protein in our body, that is called the malnourishment. So 1 out of every 5 persons that is malnourished, lack of clean drinking water, lacks proper hygienic condition and adequate health facilities. These are the problems according to the WHO. So all over the world, per every year, I mean per annum, 40 million people are dying due to the consumption of contaminated drinking water. So there is no pure drinking water for all the individuals by taking. So in some situations they drink impurity water. So every year 40 million people were died. And the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights. So here in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 30 articles are there, 30. So here 30 articles are there. See the first one, Article 1, right to equality. So right to equality, all human beings are equal before the law and in the society. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. So, like a brothers and sisters, the all human beings okay live happily in the society. Right to equality, freedom from discrimination. That is the Article 2. Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedom set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind, such as, okay. So here there is no differences like the white color, black color, okay. So without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political background, or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. So, I mean, we don't we we don't take consider all these factors. Okay. And Article 3, right to life, liberty, personal security. So everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of a person. All persons have the security. Article 4, freedom from slavery. No one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all their forms. Article 5, next one, freedom from torture and degrading. I mean, the one human being can't, don't or doesn't torture any other persons like poor people. The treatment, no one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. That is the Article 5. See the Article 6, right to recognition as a person before the law. So the before the law, the recognition as a human being, that is the very important. Everyone has the right to recognize as a human being before the law. Article 7, right to equality before the law. Already I told that every human being, all human beings are equal before the law. Right, no, I'm sorry. Article 8, right to remedy by the competent tribunal. Everyone has the right to do an effective remedy by the competent national tribunals for acts violating the fundamental rights granted him by the constitution or by the law. Article 9, freedom from arbitrary. Article 10, right to fair public hearing. So everyone is entitled in full equality to a fair and public hearing by an independent and impartial tribunal in a determination of his rights and obligations and of any criminal charge against him. Under Article 11, right to be considered innocent until proven. సో ఏదైనా ఒక మనకి కేసులో తను క్రిమినల్ అని ప్రూవ్ అయినంత వరకు తను లైక్ ఇన్నోసెంట్ గాయ్. సో రైట్ టు బి కన్సిడర్డ్ ఇన్నోసెంట్ అంటిల్ ప్రూవెన్, దట్ ఈస్ ద వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. Guilty everyone charged with a penal offense has the right to be presumed innocent until proved. Article 11 continuation. Article 12 freedom from interference with privacy, family, home, and correspondence. So that is our choice: freedom from interference with the privacy, family, home, and correspondence. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, nor to attacks upon his honor and reputation. Everyone has the right to the protection of the law against such interferences or attacks. This is the Article 13, right to free movement in and out of the country. So when we born in India, so in worldwise in any country, okay. So freely we move. That is the Article 13. Everyone has the right to freedom of movement in any country of the world. Freedom of movement and residence within the borders of each state. Everyone has the right to live any country, including his own. So మన own country అయినా మనం live చేయొచ్చు. That is our choice. Everyone has the right to live any country, including his own country, and to return to his country. That is the 13. Right to asylum in other countries from persecution. Article 14. Article 15. Right to a nationality and the freedom to change it. So everyone has the right to a nationality, Hinduism. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality, nor denied the right to change his nationality. Okay. Article 16, right to marriage and to family. Article 7, right to its own property. So as a owner, that person has uh, that person has all powers on his own property. Okay. Everyone has the right to own property alone as well as in association with others. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived on his property. So the owner has powers on his own property. Article 18, freedom of belief and religion. Everyone has the right to freedom of thought. That is the freely expressed our thoughts in society. Freedom of thought concerns and the religion. So this Article 18, this includes freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom either alone or in community with others. So we change, maybe that is our choice. We change our religion, our belief, and our freedom. Okay, that is the Article 18. 19, freedom of opinion and information. So everyone has the right to freedom of opinion. So our opinions are freely expressed and expression. The right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference, and to seek, receive, and import information and ideas through any media, and regardless of frontiers. So our thoughts and our opinions are freely expressed through media. Article 20, right to peaceful assembly and association. Article 21, right to participate in government and in free elections as a volunteer, as a representative, లేదంటే as a human being. Okay. So that is our choice. We do public service in the elections. Article 22, right to social security. So everyone as a member, as a human being of society, has the right to social security and is entitled to realization through national effort and international cooperation, and in accordance with the organization and resources of each state. Okay. So socially, economically, and culturally, these human rights indispensable for his dignity and the free development of his personality. Article 23 that says that right to desirable work and to join trade unions. So without any permission, freely we join in any trade unions. Article 24, right to rest and leisure. So from the working hours, from the hard working, we take rest and maybe we take leisure from the working time. That is our choice, one of the human right. Right to adequate living standard. So in our country, in slum areas, number of poor peoples are there. That poor peoples with lack of pure drinking water, lack of healthy food, and lack of necessary social services like that. So that is the not good thing to the society. Right to adequate living standard. Everyone has the right to a standard of living, some adequate essential that include food, clothing, housing, and medical care and necessary social services. These all are the compulsory for each and every individual in the society. Next, 26, right to education. This is the one of the important human right. Everyone has the right to education. Elementary education should be compulsory for the children. Article 26 continuation. Article 27, right to participate in the cultural life of a community. So everyone has the right to freely participate in any cultural life of the community. సో మనకి కల్చరల్లీ నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ యాక్టివిటీస్ అండ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా. సో ఈచ్ అండ్ ఎవ్రీ ఇండివిజువల్ ఫ్రీలీ జాయిన్ అండ్ పార్టిసిపేట్ అండ్ డూ సమ్ యాక్టివిటీస్ ఫ్రీలీ టు ఎంజాయ్ ది ఆర్ట్స్ అండ్ టు షేర్ ఇన్ సైంటిఫిక్ అడ్వాన్స్మెంట్ అండ్ ఇట్స్ బెనిఫిట్స్. ఆర్టికల్ 28, right to a social order that articulates this document. That is the 28. Article 29, community duties essential to free and full development. Community duties that are very essential. Everyone has duties to the community in which alone the free and full development. So ఇక్కడ something miss అయింది. Article 30, freedom from state or personal interference in the above rights. So these are the 30 articles in the human rights. Okay. So here the human rights. So in our India, human right issues are there. Okay, because number of human issues are there in our India. Because the human right issue have mostly centered around slavery, bonded labor, women subordination, custodial death cases, violence against women and minorities. So in our India, number of cases regarding to the child abuse, dowry death cases of women, mass killings of the Dalits, torture, arbitrary detention, etc. So due to all these cruel activities, in the Constitution of India contains a long list of people's civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights. So these are the 5 categories of the human rights in our India. The Constitution of our India contains a long list of people's civil, political, economical, social, and cultural human rights. So here the social discrimination, untouchability, and So these are the things anyhow. So there is a need to respect the human rights of the all people in every nation for the overall development and peace. So compulsory each and every individual respect and follow the human rights in society. So as the right to development was defined, another aspect of human rights related to the environment emerged. So environmental human rights are also there. Human rights and environment. సో ఇక్కడ మీకు హ్యూమన్ రైట్స్ ఫర్ ఇన్ 1948 కదా, యూనివర్సల్ డిక్లరేషన్ ఆఫ్ ది హ్యూమన్ రైట్ ఇన్ 1948. సో ఆఫ్టర్ ద ఎర్త్ సమ్మిట్ 1992, after the earth summit, that is the one of the conference, 1992, the need for sustainable development was recognized. The protection and the conservation of natural resources, that is the emergent. So soon after, on May 16th, 1994, at Geneva, the United Nations drafted the first ever declaration of human rights and the environment. So actually human rights, only human rights 1948 లో so next in 1992, after the earth summit, okay, the declaration of human rights and the environment. ఇది ఏంటి అంటే అకార్డింగ్ టు దిస్ హ్యూమన్ రైట్స్ అండ్ ది ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్, okay, the right of every human being to a healthy, secure and ecologically sound environment. So that is the purpose of the human rights and the environment. The sustainable uses of the natural resources, equity, security, attainment of basic human needs, and environmental justice to all. So these are the 5 categories of the human rights. Civil చూడండి, the right to be treated as an equal to anyone else in society. Second one, political. The every person has the right to vote, to freedom of speech, and to obtain information freely. So economic, the right to participate in an economy that benefits all and to desirable work. Social, the right to education, health care, food, clothing, shelter, and social security. Next, finally, that is the 5th one, cultural human rights, the right to freedom of religion and to speak the language and to speak the any language, okay, and to participate the cultural of one's choice. And these are the some human rights under the category of the civil rights. Okay, life to right to life living, belief in own religion. Third one, okay, freely expression of our opinions, okay, and free speech, freely we give our speech, non discrimination according to the sex, so male person or female person without any distinction, and non discrimination according to sex, okay. So the right to marry, race, cultural background, these are all the civil rights. Some political rights, okay. So vote, each and every individual have and vote in elections, freely form or join political parties, live in an independent country, stand for public office, freely disagree with views and policies of political leaders. So these are the some human rights under the category of the political rights. And next, economic rights, having job without unemployment, work without exploitation of natural resources, fair wage, safe working conditions, Okay, farm trade unions have adequate food protection against labor malpractices. And these are the political and economic rights and some social right. Okay, the human being right to have their own house, right to education, right to health services, recreational facilities, okay, clean environment and the social security. And these are the some cultural rights. Use our own language, develop cultural activities, ancestral domains, develop own kind of schooling. Okay, so these are the some civil, political, economic, and social, and some cultural rights in the human rights. These are the categories of the human rights. So human rights concern the relation between the state and the individual. The human rights they lead to state obligations and individual entitlements. All human beings are interdependent and interrelated. Health is a fundamental human right, indispensable for the exercise of other human beings. Exercise of other human rights. Freedom from discrimination underpins all human rights. Promotion of human rights, that is a principal purpose of the United Nations. Okay, and these are the some 4 points in the some basic points in the human rights. Okay, the relationship between the state and the individual. Okay, they lead to state obligation and the individual entitlements, interdependent and interrelated, freedom from discrimination, promotion of human right. Okay, so this is the very important topic in the fifth chapter, human rights. Okay, so human rights and the environment that evolved in May 16th, 1994 in at Geneva. So the topic is also very important regarding to the environment. The human rights and the environment. In that, basically, five parts. Five parts are there. See, listen. The part one, human rights and the environment. In that topic, part one, the human rights and the environment deals with human rights for an ecologically sound environment, sustainable development, and peace for all. That is the part one. Part two, human rights and the environment. Okay, it mainly deals with human rights related to an environment free from pollution and degradation. The environment must and should be free from pollution and any degradation. That is the part two. And next to part three, human rights and environment. This is deals with right of every person to environmental information, education, and awareness. అంటే ఇవి ఓన్లీ ఎన్విరాన్మెంటల్ పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ వ్యూ మా. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు ఈచ్ అండ్ ఎవ్రీ చైల్డ్హుడ్ ఫ్రమ్ చైల్డ్హుడ్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ నుంచి అప్ టు కాలేజెస్ లెవెల్స్ వరకు మనకి ఈ ఎన్విరాన్మెంటల్ స్టడీస్ సబ్జెక్ట్ ని ఇంక్లూడ్ చేశారు కదా. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద ఎవ్రీ పర్సన్ టు ఎన్విరాన్మెంటల్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్, environmental education. Okay, what is the importance of the environment, what are the natural resources, and how we control pollution in our surroundings, and how we conserve water for summer season, like that. Education and awareness, that is the part 3. Next, part 4, it deals with the duties to protect and preserve the environment and prevent environmental harm. సో ఈ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ లో ఉన్న న్యాచురల్ రిసోర్సెస్ ని ఓకే హౌ టు ప్రొటెక్ట్ అండ్ హౌ టు ప్రిజర్వ్ ఫర్ ది ఫ్యూచర్ for the present and also for the future generation. తర్వాత prevent environmental harm. So here environmental harm may be naturally or due to the anthropogenic activities. Anyhow, some natural and anthropogenic disasters, how we prevent the harm. That is the part 4. For next part 5. So the human rights and the environment, this lays stress on social justice and equity with respect to use of natural resources and sustainable development. So in an society, the each and every individual, okay, the usage of natural resources that is compulsory in an sustainable way, okay, without to with okay, when the usage of natural resources, that is very important. Then only we use natural resources. So unnecessary we don't use the natural resources. Right to development has to be linked to right to safe and clean environment. So that clean environment which has considered not only at the level of individual but at community, I mean, locally, nationally, and globally. Okay. So the sustainable usage of natural resources that must be locally, nationally, and global wise. So here, 5 parts are there. PRT. Okay, 5 point or parts are there in the human rights and the environment. Okay, so that is about the human rights and the environment. Okay, and here the next topic in the fifth chapter, that is the value education. Okay, so here the introduction about the value education. Value means the importance or worth. So education means lifelong learning. Value education, the importance and the worth of long life learning. Okay. So in our India, that is the scenario about the value education, about the education. The global education industry, India. In our India, literacy rate that is equals to 74%. So that is the some update reading 74%. In 1947, the literacy rate in our India that is 12%. Okay. So schools వచ్చేసి 1.4 millions and the number of institute 36,000 institutes were there in our India. Okay. So here value education. First of all, the education is the one of the more important tool, okay, for the childrens and I mean for the students. One of the most important tool in bringing about socio-economic and cultural progress of the country. I mean, socially, economically, and culturally, our country has been developed due to the value education. The objective of education, the objective of education uh, should not merely be imparting coaching to the students that they get to through the examination with good results and get some good job after the education. So education doesn't mean simply reading, learning, and get some job. Okay. So here and but also it's right to at right time the usage and use within the framework of a spectrum of ethical values. So that is the education, value education and its type. Values education depends upon the important parameters and these are the types.